Hello, I'm Del with Healing Frequencies Music, and this little discussion is about the difference between concert pitch and temperament. So I have my handy dandy piano here, which I'm going to use this as a live demonstration. Feel free to check the website. I have an article specifically on on concert pitch and another one on temperament. But hopefully with this video, you'll understand the difference between the two. Okay, concert pitch literally means where you take a specific note on an instrument, you set what that note's supposed to sound like, and then you tune all other notes to that note. So we're going to take the A above middle C. That is A440. That means that particular note cycles at 440 cycles per second, or we call that hertz. So if I were to go to the next A higher, octaves are always double. So if you double 440, you're going to get 880. So this A is 440, this A is 880. So if we go opposite direction and go the octave lower, we're going to cut it in half. So half of 440 is 220. So the A below middle C cycles at 220 hertz. A above middle C is 440. And the A that is just above the staff is 880. So that's just an example of specific notes in hertz, so that if you hear numbers like 639 or 852, you'll know that that's talking about hertz, and you should be able to fit them somewhere on the keyboard. Okay, all instruments, when they're tuning, will pick a note. So an orchestra, the principal violinist will stand up, or the concertmaster, and point to the woodwinds. Hey, woodwinds, here's your A. They're all going to tune their instruments to that A. Then the brass players will do the same thing. They'll tune their instrument to that A. Then the strings. Then the entire orchestra will tune, and a lot of times will tune their fifths and their fourths. Okay? They'll tune other notes just to make sure that their whole instrument is in tune. Okay? So that is how you tune an instrument. You pick one note and tune all of the notes to that note. I tune my instrument, I use a keyboard which is adjustable. You can't tune to 432 on a regular piano because they're not made to do that. You'd have to have all the strings and everything adjusted for that much of an adjustment. So I have a keyboard that will actually tune down to 432, and so that means that this A above middle C oscillates at 432 cycles per second rather than 440. There are some out there that are tuning their instruments to 444, which gets the 528, which is this C above middle C. Right now, this C is oscillating at 523 hertz because it's in the 440 concert pitch. But if I change to 440 concert pitch, then this C now oscillates at 528 hertz. So you're going to get the different pitches based on what your main tuning is. All right, so if I want to change the temperament, that is the distance between notes. So I'm going to set my concert pitch. So right now, the concert pitch on this piano is set close to A440. I think it's a little flat, but so I have this. Now what I'm going to do as a piano tuner, I will take and I will tune all these other notes off of that A. All of our modern instruments are tuned to equal temperament. Equal temperament literally means that the distance between every note is exactly the same mathematically. So from C to C sharp is the same as C sharp to D to D sharp, and D sharp to E. E to F all the way up the keyboard. So every note, the distance between each note is going to be the same. So if I play a fifth, it's going to be the same if I play D to A as if I play F to C and G to D, or A flat to E flat. All of those fifths are mathematically equal. Okay? So that means I can play in all 24 keys, major and minor keys, and they all sound exactly the same as far as tuning. Okay? Because I've adjusted my temperament so that it's equal. Now, in the time of Pythagoras, who originally came up with our scale in about 500 BC, we had what was called the Pythagorean scale, which is basically these notes: C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. So those are the main notes. By taking pipes and cutting them in half, and then in thirds, and then in fourths, and then in fifths, you get these different intervals. The difference is that they're not exactly the same. So if I would go play a fifth in a Pythagorean scale from D to A, it might not be the same distance as E to B or F to C. So that means the fifths weren't always equal, or the fourths weren't always equal, the thirds weren't equal. So that's what we call Pythagorean tuning. So the distance between each note is going to be slightly different. That's what we call temperament. We did not have a way of tuning our instruments to a specific temperament that was exact until we had devices, electronic devices, to measure it. Up until that time, they had to use a variety of temperaments: just intonation, well temperament, Pythagorean tuning, and there was probably 20 different versions of well temperament, because you could temper the distance between notes. You could change the temperament between this F and C. You could make an adjustment in the F and leave everything else the same as your neighbor did, and that would be a different form of well temperament, because they had no way of specifically knowing exactly how to tune. It was all done by the ear, and they would do it based on what they felt sounded good or what keys they were playing in. You couldn't play in a lot of flat keys because it just sounded really awful. They called those wolf notes or wolf keys. So there's a reason a lot of the music in the Renaissance era had only one sharp or one flat or two sharps or two flats, because anything beyond that started sounding pretty bad, because well temperament is not made to play super in tune in every key. So again, the difference between temperament and concert pitch is concert pitch sets the note that you tune to. That's all it does. And then you tune all other notes off that one note. So whether you're in 444 tuning or 440 tuning or 432 or 415, that's just telling you that that A above middle C is going to oscillate at that tuning. Then you decide which temperament you want to be in. Do you want to be in Pythagorean? Do you want just intonation? Do you want one of the 20 different versions of well temperament, or do you want to use equal temperament? So you have to make that decision after you've tuned your A. Then you tune all of your other notes from the middle of your instrument outward in whichever temperament that you choose. Okay, so if you have any other questions about tuning or temperament, feel free to read the articles on my website, and we'll go more in depth at another time. So thank you. We'll talk to you later.